Alexandria, also called the City of Alexandria, is an independent city in the Commonwealth of Virginia. As of the 2010 census, the population was 139,966, and in 2014, the population was estimated to be 150,575. Located along the western bank of the Potomac River, Alexandria is approximately 7 miles south of downtown Washington, D.C. Like the rest of northern Virginia, as well as central Maryland, modern Alexandria has been shaped by its proximity to the U.S. Capitol. It is largely populated by professionals working in the federal civil service, in the U.S. military, or for one of the many private companies which contract to provide services to the federal government. One of Alexandria's largest employers is the U.S. Department of Defense. Another is the Institute for Defense Analyses. In 2005, the United States Patent and Trademark Office moved to Alexandria. The historic center of Alexandria is known as Old Town, with its concentration of boutiques, restaurants, antique shops and theaters. It is a major draw for tourists. Like Old Town, many Alexandria neighborhoods are compact, walkable, high-income suburbs of Washington, D.C. It is the seventh largest and highest-income independent city in Virginia. A portion of adjacent Fairfax County is named Alexandria, but it is under the jurisdiction of Fairfax County and separate from the city. The city is sometimes referred to as the City of Alexandria or Alexandria City to avoid confusion. In 1920, Virginia's General Assembly voted to incorporate what had been Alexandria County as Arlington County to minimize confusion. History. Colonial era. The first European settlement was established in 1695 in what was then the English colony of Virginia. Virginia's comprehensive tobacco inspection law of 1730 mandated that all tobacco grown in the colony must be brought to locally designated public warehouses for inspection before sale. One of the sites designated for a warehouse on the upper Potomac River was at the mouth of Hunting Creek. However, the ground being unsuitable at that location, the warehouse was established a half-mile upriver, where the water ran deep near the shore. Following the 1745 settlement of the colony's 10-year-long dispute with Lord Fairfax over the western boundary of the Northern Neck Proprietary, the Privy Council in London, finding in favour of Lord Fairfax's expanded claims, some of the gentry class of Fairfax County banded together to form the Ohio Company of Virginia. Their intent was to establish trade into the interior of America, and for this they required an entrepot close to the head of navigation on the Potomac. The Hunting Creek Tobacco Warehouse offered the best location for a trading port which could accommodate sailing ships. However, many of the local tobacco planters wanted a new town to be sited up Hunting Creek, away from the played-out tobacco fields along the river. Around 1746, Captain Philip Alexander II moved to what is south of present Duke Street in Alexandria. His estate, which consisted of 500 acres, was bounded by Hunting Creek, whose runs the Potomac River, and approximately the line which would become Cameron Street. At the opening of Virginia's 1748-49 legislative session, there was a petition submitted in the House of Burgesses on November 1, 1748. That the inhabitants of Fairfax praying that a town may be established at Hunting Creek Warehouse on Potomac River, as Hugh West was the owner of the warehouse. The petition was introduced by Lawrence Washington, the representative for Fairfax County and, more importantly, the son-in-law of William Fairfax and a founding member of the Ohio Company. To support the company's push for a town on the river, Lawrence's younger brother George Washington, an aspiring surveyor, made a sketch of the shoreline touting the advantages of the tobacco warehouse site. Since the river site was amidst his estate, Philip opposed the idea and strongly favored a site at the head of Hunting Creek. It has been said that in order to avoid a predicament, the petitioners offered to name the new town Alexandria, in honor of Philip's family. This John was the son of Robert Alexander II. On May 2, 1749, the House of Burgesses approved the river location and ordered Mr. Washington to go up with a message to the council and acquaint him that this House have agreed to the amendments titled An Act for Erecting a Town at Hunting Creek Warehouse, in the county of Fairfax. A public venue was advertised for July, and the county surveyor laid out street lanes and town lots. The auction was conducted on July 13–14, 1749. Almost immediately upon establishment, the town founders called the new town Belhaven, believed to be in honour of a Scottish patriot, John Hamilton, 2nd Lord Belhaven and Stenton, the northern neck tobacco trade being then dominated by Scots. The name Belhaven was used in official lotteries to raise money for a church and market house, but it was never approved by the legislature and fell out of favour in the mid-1750s. The town of Alexandria did not become incorporated until 1779. In 1755, General Edward Braddock organized his fatal expedition against Fort Duquesne at Carlisle House in Alexandria. In April 1755, the governors of Virginia, and the provinces of Maryland, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, and New York met to determine upon concerted action against the French in America. In March 1785, commissioners from Virginia and Maryland met in Alexandria to discuss the commercial relations of the two states, finishing their business at Mount Vernon. The Mount Vernon Conference concluded on March 28 with an agreement for freedom of trade and freedom of navigation of the Potomac River. The Maryland legislature, in ratifying this agreement on November 22, proposed a conference among representatives from all the states to consider the adoption of definite commercial regulations. This led to the calling of the Annapolis Convention of 1786, which in turn led to the calling of the Federal Convention of 1787. In 1791, Alexandria was included in the area chosen by George Washington to become the District of Columbia. Early 19th century. In 1814, during the War of 1812, a British fleet launched a successful raid on Alexandria, which surrendered without a fight. As agreed in the terms of surrender, the British looted stores and warehouses of mainly flour, tobacco, cotton, wine, and sugar. From 1828 to 1836, Alexandria was home to the Franklin and Armfield Slave Market, one of the largest slave trading companies in the country. By the 1830s, they were sending more than 1,000 slaves annually from Alexandria to their Natchez, Mississippi, and New Orleans markets to help meet the demand for slaves in Mississippi and surrounding states. Later owned by Price, Birch & Co., the slave pen became a jail under Union occupation. A portion of the city of Alexandria, known as Old Town, and all of today's Arlington County, share the distinction of having been originally in Virginia, ceded to the U.S. government to form the District of Columbia, and later retroceded to Virginia by the federal government in 1846. When the district was reduced in size to exclude the portion south of the Potomac River. Over time, a movement grew to separate Alexandria from the District of Columbia. As competition grew with the port of Georgetown and the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal fostered development on the north side of the Potomac River, the city's economy stagnated. Together with the loss of representation and rights to vote and failed expectations for economic benefit from the new district, Alexandria was also an important port and market in the slave trade, and there were increasing talk of the abolition of slavery in the national capital. Alexandria's economy would suffer greatly if slavery were outlawed. After a referendum, voters petitioned Congress in Virginia to return the area to Virginia. Congress retroceded the area to Virginia on July 9, 1846. The city of Alexandria was rechartered in 1852 and became independent of Alexandria County in 1870. The remaining portion of Alexandria County changed its name to Arlington County in 1920. Late 19th century. The first fatalities of the North and South in the American Civil War occurred in Alexandria. Within a month of the Battle of Fort Sumter, where 2 died, Union troops occupied Alexandria, landing troops at the base of King Street on the Potomac River on May 24, 1861. A few blocks up King Street from their landing site, the commander of the New York Fire Zouaves, Colonel Elmer E. Ellsworth, sortied with a small detachment to retrieve a large Confederate flag displayed on the roof of the Marshall House that had been visible from the White House. While descending from the roof, Ellsworth was killed by Captain James W. Jackson, the hotel proprietor. One of the soldiers in Ellsworth's party shot Jackson immediately thereafter. After Ellsworth's death, he was publicized as a Union martyr. The incident generated great excitement in the North. Jackson's death caused a lesser, but similar sensation in the South. Alexandria remained under military occupation until the end of the Civil War. One of the ring of forts built during the war by the Union Army for the defense of Washington, D.C., Fort Ward, is located within the boundaries of modern Alexandria. After the establishment of the state of West Virginia in 1863 and until the close of the war, Alexandria was the seat of the restored government of Virginia, also known as the Alexandria government. During the Union occupation, a recurring point of contention between the Alexandria citizenry and the military occupiers was the military's periodic insistence that church services include prayers for the President of the United States, resulting in incidents such as the full arrest of a minister in his church. Escaped African American slaves poured into the military occupation of Alexandria, safely behind Union lines. The cities of Alexandria and Washington offered not only comparative freedom, but employment. Over the course of the war, Alexandria was transformed by the Union occupiers into a major supply depot and transport and hospital center, all under Army control. Because the escaped slaves were still legally property until the abolition of slavery, they were labeled as contrabands to prevent their being returned to their masters. Contrabands took positions with the Army in various support roles. According to one statistic, the population of Alexandria had exploded to 18,000 by the fall of 1863, an increase of 10,000 people in 16 months. As of ratification of the 15th Amendment, Alexandria County's black population was more than 8,700, or about half the total number of residents in the county. This newly enfranchised constituency provided the support necessary to elect the first black Alexandrians to the city council and the Virginia legislature. 20th century. In 1930, Alexandria annexed the town of Potomac. That town, adjacent to Potomac Yard, had been laid out beginning in the late 19th century and incorporated in 1908. By the late 20th century, Alexandria had become a key portion of the urban agglomeration of Northern Virginia. Geography. According to the United States Census Bureau, the city has a total area of 15.5 square miles, of which 15.0 square miles is land and 0.42 square miles, or 2.85%, is water. Alexandria is bounded on the east by the Potomac River, on the north and northwest by Arlington County, and on the south by Fairfax County. The western portions of the city were annexed from those two entities beginning in the 1930s. The addressing system in Alexandria is not uniform and reflects the consolidation of several originally separate communities into a single city. In Old Town Alexandria, building numbers are assigned north and south from King Street and west from the Potomac River. In the areas formerly in the town of Potomac, such as Delray and St. Elmo, building numbers are assigned east and west from Commonwealth Avenue and north from King Street. In the western parts of the city, building numbers are assigned north and south from Duke Street. The zip code prefix 223 uniquely identifies the Alexandria postal area. However, the Alexandria postal area extends into Fairfax County and includes addresses outside of the city. Delivery areas have zip codes 22,301, 22,302, 22,203, 22,304, 22,305, 22,306, 22,307, 22,308, 22,309, 22,310, 22,311, 22,312, 22,314, and 22,315, with other zip codes in use for post office boxes and large mailers. Adjacent jurisdictions include Arlington County, Virginia, North, Fairfax County, Virginia, a West and South, District of Columbia, Northeast, Prince George's County, Maryland, East. There is one national protected area in Alexandria, George Washington Memorial Parkway. Climate. The climate in this area is characterized by hot, humid summers and generally mild to cool winters. According to the Köppen climate classification system, Alexandria has a humid subtropical climate, abbreviated CFA, on climate maps. Eco-City in 2008. The Alexandria City Council approved an Eco-City charter with the goal of guiding the city and its residents toward sustainability. The term Eco-City was first coined by Richard Register in his 1987 book Ecocity Berkeley, Building Cities for a Healthy Future. An eco-city is typically defined as one in which inhabitants are dedicated to the minimal consumption of energy, water and food, as well as minimal production of air and water pollution. Alexandria, however, defines sustainability instead as meeting the city's present needs while preserving its historic character and ensuring the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Neighborhoods. Neighborhoods in Alexandria include Old Town, Eisenhower Valley, Rosemont, The Berg, Parker Gray, Del Rey, Arlandria, West End, and Northridge. Many neighborhoods and cities outside of the city limits, including Holland Hills, Franconia, Groveton, Hybla Valley, Huntington, Bellhaven, Mount Vernon, Fort Hunt, Ingleside, Burgundy Village, Waynewood, Wilton Woods, Rose Hill, Virginia Hills, Hayfield, and Kingstown use an Alexandria address. These areas are actually part of Fairfax County, not the city of Alexandria. Many locals refer to the non-city of Alexandria area that has an Alexandria zip code as Lower Alexandria or South Alexandria. It may also sometimes be called Alexandria. Fairfax County government. As an independent city of Virginia, Alexandria derives its governing authority from the Virginia General Assembly. In order to revise the power and structure of the city government, the city must request the General Assembly to amend the charter. The present charter was granted in 1950 and it has been amended in 1968, 1971, 1976, and 1982. Alexandria adopted a council-manager form of government by way of referendum in 1921. This type of government empowers the elected city council to pass legislation and appoint the city manager. The city manager is responsible for overseeing the city's administration. In 2008, the city of Alexandria had 78 standing local boards, commissions, and committees to advise the city council on major issues affecting the community. All members are appointed by the City Council. Alexandria is part of Virginia's 8th Congressional District, represented by Democrat Don Bear, elected in 2014. The state's senior member of the United States Senate is Democrat Mark Warner, elected in 2008. The state's junior member of the United States Senate is Democrat Tim Kaine, elected in 2012. Demographics. At the 2010 census, there were 139,966 people, 68,082 households and 30,978 families residing in the city. The population density was 8,452.0 per square mile. There were 68,082 housing units at an average density of 4,233.2 per square mile. The racial makeup of the city was 60.9% white, 21.8% African American, 6.0% Asian, 0.4% Native American, 0.1% Pacific Islander, 3.7% from two or more races. 16.1% of the population were Hispanics or Latinos of any race. In 2000, there were 61,889 households, of which 18.6% had children under the age of 18 living with them, 32.2% were married couples living together, 9.2% had a female householder with no husband present, and 55.2% were non-families. 43.4% of all households were made up of individuals and 6.8% had someone living there alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 2.04 and the average family size was 2.87. The age distribution was 16.8% under the age of 18, 9.2% from 18 to 24, 43.5% from 25 to 44, 21.5% from 45 to 64, and 9.0% who were 65 years of age or older. The median age was 34 years. For every 100 females there were 93.5 males. For every 100 females age 18 and over, there were 91.7 males. According to a 2007 estimate, the median household income was $80,806 and the median family income was $102,435. Males had a median income of $47,514 versus $41,254 for females. The per capita income for the city was $37,645. 8.9% of the population and 6.8% of families were below the poverty line. 13.9% of those under the age of 18 and 9.0% of those 65 and older were living below the poverty line. Crime. Like many American cities, Alexandria has experienced a substantial decline in overall crime since 1970, hitting a 45-year low in 2010. The city's Alexandria Police Department is responsible for police services in the city. There are 320 officers and 138 administrative workers. Since 2002, the police department has put crime information online. The total number of violent crimes has been declining on average since 1997 for Alexandria. There were 288 cases of aggravated assault for 1997. The average since then has been 204 per year. The high point for burglary was reached in 1997 with 819 break-ins, as well as 813 reports of auto theft, the highest recorded total for the city. The average number of stolen autos for every year since then has been 672. The number of crimes per 1,000 people has also been declining, from 56 in 1997 to 27 in 2006.